evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way to 12,800 subscribers. And of course, if you could click the like button early doors, get your like in early. It helps me out. I'd be incredibly grateful. We're an hour early today, so if you're watching this in like an hour's time, being like, why is this already ended? I had to do it an hour early. It was meant to be on the screen yesterday, but I got that wrong. So I apologize. I'm just going out for dinner, and I had to do this earlier than normal. So that's the reasoning. But I hope you're all well. There's still plenty of you here, which we love to see. Lord Ferguson of Aberdeen, Vivi Vlad, Carter, Ethan Udall, Emil, Hyper, Oslo Guna, Icarus, Saliba, Logical Nonsense, Junior Films, Pekka, Sportcat, Ryan Henderson, Magnus Mia, Manny, Wills of God, Guno, and many, many more. Injuries. Defensive injuries. It's a problem. It is a problem. We'll get straight into it. The news coming out of Italy today. So we've not had confirmation from a big English source, but the news coming out of Italy today is that Riccardo Calafiori has a slight problem with his medial collateral ligament. That's his MCL. However, the injury is not serious. He will be out for no more than a few weeks. So what does this mean? Well, Physio Scout, who is a really good Twitter account, if you don't follow it already, they actually, as far as I could tell, were the only people that correctly, when seeing the injury at the time, predicted that it was an MCL injury. So they did their report on it, looking at the video footage, and predicted it was an MCL injury, and it turns out it was. And according to them, MCL potential recovery times, or standard recovery times, grade 1 is 1 to 2 weeks, grade 2 is 3 to 6 weeks, and grade 3 is 6 to 10 weeks. Now, based on the fact that it's being described as a non-serious injury, we can rule out grade 3, I think. I don't think he'd have carried on playing if it was a grade 3. So then you're looking at either grade 1 or 2. Now, obviously, ideally, grade 1, you'd be looking at 1 to 2 weeks. Grade 2, 3 to 6 weeks, suddenly, you're basically out until the next international break or after the next international break. So, yeah, that would be unfortunate. And it's one of those, on one hand, because people were happy with this when the news came out, because obviously there was a slight concern that this was going to be like an ACL or something, that this could be a long-term injury. But it is still very, very frustrating to get another injury, especially in a defensive position, when we've got so many already, and we've got this run of games coming up where we've got Liverpool, and then we've got Newcastle away, Inter away, Chelsea away. It is tough. It is really tough. It's really unfortunate. And even if it's 3 weeks, which is the low end of a grade 2, he's going to miss all of those. Did you see that Norway's manager wants to call Odegaard up for the November internationals? I did. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. I actually hope he trusts Miles Lewis-Skelly, but I think he'll go Kivior left back if Timber isn't fit. Yeah, well, look, we'll talk about that. We will talk about that. Grade 2 would be a small tear, so it comes down to how well Cala heals. Yeah, exactly. And I think they'll be cautious with him. I do think they'll be cautious with him, but we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. Rory, I stubbed my toe. I'm out for 52 weeks, possibly 365 days, but at most 1 year. Well, there you go. That is unfortunate. Do you think that either MLS or Ethan will start knowing Arteta? Not knowing Arteta, no. I'm from Norway, and everyone here hates the manager too. Well, look, we'll talk about that. So Odegaard, we don't know exactly when he's going to be back, but the Norwegian manager suggested that he is going to be back before the international break if all goes to plan, and that if he is back before the international break, he'll be called up for the internationals. Now, there's two ways of looking at this. On the one hand, generally speaking, we just don't want our best players going on international duty. However, for Martin Odegaard, if he is fully recovered by the international break, I don't really mind him going on the international break, because he is one of the few players that will need to get back up to full speed, and that's an opportunity to do that. Now, obviously, if he was to go on the international break and then re-injure it, that would be a big problem. But if he doesn't do that, then I actually think that those could be some valuable minutes back in the tank for him to come back into the Arsenal team with. A little bit like Marino going away on the last international break, which I thought was good for him. So, Yeah, it wouldn't be the end of the world if Odegaard goes. It would be frustrating if he's not fully fit and they take him, but I just don't think that would happen. Like, if he's not absolutely 100% back, he's not going to go on the international break. Like the stream, lads, go on. Yeah, if you could like it, that would be fantastic. Yeah, there you go. It's a bit like Marino. Exactly. Anyway, outside of that, Charles Watts has said Arsenal maintain hope that both Bukayo Saka and Jurrien Timber could be available to face Liverpool. The club will give Saka as much time as possible to prove his fitness, while a late decision will be made on Jurrien Timber. These are the two just massively important ones. You know, Saka, without Saka, I really fear for us going forwards. And Timber, now that Calafiori's out, I mean, we'll have a look at it, right? In terms of what you would do in the absence of Timber, because we're not going to have Saliba, we're not going to have Calafiori, and if we don't have Timber, I really don't know that there is any solution that results in us not losing the game. So if you haven't got Timber, like, genuinely, there are shouts to put Rice at centre back, and I'm not even against it. Because the alternative, basically, the option's this: without Timber or Calafiori or Saliba in this back four, you either go White at right back, Kivior at right centre back, and that has looked terrible recently anyway, and then one of Zinchenko and Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back, or you go like Partey at right back, yeah, against Luis Diaz, with Ben White right centre back, Gabriel left centre back, and then Kivior, Zinchenko, or Miles Lewis-Skelly as the left back. Either way, that is massively problematic. Now, Marino left back, again, I don't know if he's ever played there in his life. To ask him to play there against Mohamed Salah would be crazy. So that's just awful. Now, what would I do in that situation? For me, I would probably go Raya, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Miles Lewis-Skelly. And I don't think that wins you the game. I would potentially go White, Rice, Gabriel, Miles Lewis-Skelly. And then play a midfield of Partey, Marino, and Trossard. But it's tough. Whereas, if you bring back Timber, if you bring Timber back into it, suddenly it looks a lot more manageable. You can play Timber at right back with White at right centre back, or the other way around. But personally, I would have Timber at right back and White at right centre back, given that Gabriel and White have played as a partnership before, and that Timber on that right-hand side linking up with Saka looked so good against Leicester. And then you have Gabriel, and then you can have either Kivior, Zinchenko, or Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back. Now, I would imagine that Arteta would start with Kivior at left back. Personally, I really wouldn't be against just gambling on Miles Lewis-Skelly, but you have to be realistic. Giving Miles Lewis-Skelly his first ever Premier League start against Mohamed Salah in a massive, massive game is a massive, massive risk. But either way, it looks a lot less worrying if you've got Jurrien Timber in there. Those flanks are going to be destroyed with Partey, Kivior at right back, left back. No, I agree. I'm horrified for Salah on one side, Luis Diaz on the other. We are in trouble. Less so if we have Timber, but it is a massive, massive concern. And then obviously whether or not we've got Saka in the attack makes a massive difference in attack. So, I mean, what would you have as the midfield? Would you have it as Rice, Partey, Trossard, and Marino on the bench? Would you have Partey, Marino, Partey, Rice, Rice, Marino? Do you keep Trossard as the third midfielder? I'll be honest, I've got question marks over Trossard. You know, he got himself sent off against Man City. He got Saliba sent off against Bournemouth. He missed the penalty against Shakhtar. He's struggling at the moment. It's crazy that we have all these injuries and Partey is the one playing the most minutes. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, if you had said, you know, we're going to have 7 injuries by the time we play Liverpool, I would have put my house on Thomas Partey being one of those injuries. But he's not. Whatever we do not play Kivior at centre-back. Total liability in that position. Well, the crazy thing is he started really as a left, like he is a left centre-back by trade. It should almost be more comfortable for him to play as a right centre-back than it should be for him to play as a left-back. But see, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. If you've got Timber and White available, I just don't think there's a reason to have Kivior playing at centre-back. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the logic of having Timber up against Salah. But for me, you've then got an issue, a massive issue at centre-back. And then you'd assume the front three, if Saka's fit, will be Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. That would be the front three. But we'll see. Timber left back, White right back, and Rice centre back. Possibly. I'd rather have Rice as the right centre back than Kivior at this point, which is insane. What about a back three? Nah, no chance. There's no way that Arteta's going to change that much. Because then, not only are you going to a back three, so you're playing a system that we've not played in 2.5 years, but also you're asking players that aren't regularly playing to play in a back three. Just glad Jota isn't playing. He loves scoring against us. Is that being confirmed that Jota won't be available? I'm not entirely sure it's confirmed that Jota's not going to be available. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. There's nothing that seems to say it, to be honest. Don't know. Unsure. That physio scout said it's a rib injury. Rib injuries are amongst the most painful to manage, which could be one reason why he couldn't play on. Recovery time, if it's a rib contusion, 1 to 2 weeks. If it's a rib fracture, 4 to 6 weeks. So, yeah, maybe he won't be available. If Timber plays, Partey starting right back. What? No. Why would Partey start right back if Timber played? It'd be the opposite. If Timber plays, it'll mean almost certainly Partey won't have to play at right back, surely. Because Timber or White can do it. There's no way we play a back four that has both Timber and White in it, and neither of them's at right back, surely. Partey's being our best midfielder, keep him there. Yeah, I think keep Partey in midfield. 100%. Timber's best position is a centre-back in a back three. Closest replacement to Saliba, only missing out on aerial dominance and recovery pace. Well, that's the thing that concerns me. That's the thing that concerns me, though. If you're looking at Timber being a centre-back in this team, on the assumption that they're going to play Darwin Núñez up top, if Jota is out, then lack of recovery pace and lack of aerial dominance against Darwin Núñez is actually quite a big problem. Have you seen we're interested in Duran? Would you take him over Sesko? I'm not sure, to be fair. I'm not sure if I would take Duran over Sesko. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Maybe. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him playing right back. That's what I think might happen. Well, it might. You might be right. But yeah, no, I agree. I hope it doesn't. Salah and Trent on one is worrying. Whoever is left back needs a huge game. Well, that's the concern, yeah. That is the concern. And it's why the Calafiori, as much as Calafiori is not out for a long time, which is good, the fact that he's out for this. And then you look at, you look at the games that he's going to miss. Even if he's only out until the next international break, the end of the next international break, which would be 4 weeks, that's still going to mean he misses Newcastle away, Chelsea away, and Inter away. Like that group of games there. And even then, it's not even about it's not even about that you desperately need Calafiori starting those games. It's the rotation that you need as well. It means that now Like, when's Ben White going to, we're straight back into this. Ben White, barely back from injury, and we're needing to play him 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. It just feels relentless. And that's the thing I think that's so frustrating. Like, we had such a difficult start to the season. Within the first 11 Premier League games, we will have played Villa away, City away, Tottenham away, Newcastle away, and Chelsea away. Our first third of the season, and not just in terms of Premier League games, but in terms of the Champions League games as well. The Champions League games, we had, our 3 hardest Champions League games, a PSG at home, Inter Milan away, and Atalanta away. We'll have done all 3 of those as well. So we'll have had the 3 hardest Champions League games. We'll have had a massive amount of the most difficult Premier League games. And unfortunately, we've just not been able to string together any sort of consistency with the team selection. Like, it's just been constant suspensions, injuries, people not being fit. And that is so frustrating, because you'd normally think, okay, front loading the season with a lot of difficult fixtures isn't so bad, because you expect your squad to be kind of at its fittest at the start of the season. Everyone comes back from, the summer, but it's just not gone that way at all. It's been, when was the last time we even got through a match without having a fresh injury? White looked unfit the other day. It's concerning. I'm sure he is unfit. He is like he is undoubtedly lacking match fitness for sure. Do you guys feel we have to win to stay in the title race? A draw would be decent with all our injuries. Yeah, it's one of those, like, if everyone was fit, I'd say it's really a game that we should be winning and would need to win. But at this point, like, lose the game and it's a mountain to climb. And given the injuries that we've got, it might be one of those where you do just have to take a draw and then hope to claw those points back later in the season. In pre-season, Saliba had vacation after the Euros. Timber played centre-back and White right-back. He did, yeah. And Arteta explained that as well. So Arteta explained why he played Timber at centre-back and White at right-back by saying that doing that is only changing as few positions as possible. But it's interesting, right? Because Timber predominantly played as a centre-back for Ajax, but not in a back four. And White spent most of his career as a centre-back, not as a right-back. So I really do feel like you could do it either way around. But yeah, in the only real time that we've seen it previously, it was Timber centre-back and White right-back. Another problem with all these injuries is that even against Preston, we can't rotate too much unless we play a team full of academy players. Yeah, and I don't think Preston away is not the same as Bolton at home, right? Preston are a championship team. Yeah, they're 16th. Don't get me wrong; they've not had a brilliant season so far, but they've not lost in their last 4 games, and it's just one of those where it's like you can't go 5 academy players into that game. Never thought the late comments would hurt us so much that you stream an hour early. By the way, hello. Oh, yeah. No, well, everyone is late. Everyone that turns up at 6:30, late. Did you guys see Sanya talk about how Pogba would be perfect for us? I mean, prime Pogba is legit, but I'm not sure. No, I don't want Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba was, firstly, he's injury prone. Secondly, at the end of his time at United, he was really struggling. He's then gone to Juventus, where he really struggled. Like, before the suspension, Paul Pogba was struggling. He's old. He'd be on massive wages. He's I don't know what the word is, but he's. You look at the players that we got out of our dressing room in terms of the Aubameyangs. Like, Paul Pogba just feels like someone that it just brings unnecessary media attention, basically. People saying that we're suffering all of this because we celebrated the Rodri ACL. Yeah, people's reaction to it's weird. It's like last season, right? You had Newcastle fans complaining about their injuries. You had Chelsea fans complaining about their injuries. You had City fans complaining about Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland's injuries. You had Tottenham fans complain. Everyone complained about their injuries last season. But now Arsenal have got the injuries. If we complain about it, it's like, you're not allowed to complain about injuries because you didn't have many last season. And it's like, but you complained about yours last season. Just because we didn't have as many last season, why would we not be allowed to complain about it this season? It's weird. It seems like Arsenal are just the only fan base that just have to be happy that our players are injured and not mention it for whatever reason. Pogba's too much of a liability. Yeah, he'd be on mad wages as well, I expect. Would you take us winning the Carabao and FA Cup to get to the semis in the CL and get third in the PL? Would you take us winning the Carabao Cup and FA Cup but get to the semis in the CL and third in the... No. Don't get me wrong. The FA Cup I kind of care about. The Carabao Cup, genuinely don't care about. But both of them, I just don't care about really anything like I care about the Premier League and the Champions League. I would sacrifice the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup for the next 10 years if it meant winning one Premier League or one Champions League at this point. Kivior played as the left back against Liverpool at the Emirates in the second half and was outstanding. Would put my trust in him. Well, this is one thing that I would say. Jakub Kivior is being... And don't get me wrong, he has struggled of late, but he has been massively disrespected, in my opinion, when the way that some people talk about him. And if we go back to last year in the Premier League, does it show? I want to see his game. All right, yeah, we'll go back this way. Like when he went through this period for us here. Like you said, he came on against Liverpool after at halftime, put in a brilliant performance, and then he put this string of games together where he was playing almost every minute. All right, the opposition's not insane, but it was, clean sheet, conceded against Porto wasn't his fault, comfortable win against Newcastle, clean sheet, beat Brentford. After that, continued, clean sheet against Porto. And then obviously he got phased back out once we were back. But I feel like he can do a job at left back. Now, I do feel like we lose out a bit going forwards when he's at left back. But given the injuries that we've got, it's then what's more of a risk, Kivior or Miles Lewis-Skelly? Standards FC would take a Carabao Cup and an 8th in the league. I know. That's the thing that always baffles me about, the people that value a Carabao Cup above league position. I don't get it. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think if we were winning Carabao Cups and finishing 8th again, they would not want to keep the manager and say, well, he's won a trophy. I don't think they would do that at all. But Sane fucked his season. Yeah. And that Sane thing, part of that really was not even his fault. Yeah, he got hooked at half-time, but Gabriel and Raya were the ones that messed up for the first goal. So MLS would be more of a risk, in my opinion. It's a risk long-term. It's more of a risk long-term, right? In terms of what it could do for his development. 99% of defenders would struggle to deal with Sane's pace. Don't know where this disrespect is coming from, actually. Yeah, I agree. Which is why I wouldn't mind too much. If we end up with White at right back, Timber at right centre back, Gabriel and Kivior, and we have Saka as well, then I definitely still think we have enough to win the game. 100%. 100%. Watching Barca's midfield yesterday, and then what happened to signing technical players? Well, half of our technical players are out injured. Is the main thing. This would be a great game for Marino to stand up and announce himself. Yeah, 100%. 100%. We need a left winger. Gabby, do. Oh, Martinelli, do. Swap Timber with Kivior. Why would you put Timber at left back and Kivior at right back? Or right centre back? I think people are, in my opinion, people are overdoing Salah in terms of first of all, Salah can beat Timber. But I just feel like Kivior can do a job at left back and Timber is a centre back, a right-sided centre back. putting Kivior as a right centre-back when we've seen him at right centre-back and it doesn't look pretty at all. It's not for me. It's not for me. Would you sack Teta if we go trophyless this season? No. Give me some more context. This is honestly, I'm not coming at you here because it's a question that I get all the time. It's the dumbest question. It's the dumbest question. Because where's the context? Like, if we go trophyless, but actually we get knocked out of the cup by Preston, we don't go far in the FA Cup, we end up 9th to 24th in the Champions League and then get knocked out either in the playoff game or the round of 16, and we finish 3rd in the league and nowhere near a title. If that happens, then yeah, I would begin questioning Arteta. It would still also massively depend on who's actually available. But if we finish 2nd in the league on 98 points, 1 point behind City, and we get to the Champions League final and lose it to whoever, like, no, I'm probably not going to get rid of him. Feels like we're going backwards. Yeah, but I don't think I don't think we are going backwards. I think we've just been absolutely riddled with injuries and suspensions. With the 5 games that we've played in the Premier League with 11 men, we've won all 5. You know, we were winning 2-1 away at the Etihad. We won away at Aston Villa. We won away at Tottenham. I feel like people are really, really clouded by a couple of games. And it can't be good for the players, to be honest, seeing the constant negativity online. And it's like people just completely ignoring the context of the amount of players that we've got out injured and the importance of those players. Gyökeres train still full steam ahead? Oh, 100%. The Gyökeres team train is still full steam ahead. Feel like we need that mega signing up front. I feel like we do need a striker, mainly because we actually, right now, don't have any real backup to Kai Havertz, in my opinion. Whether that's John Duran in January. I mean, that's a player to bring on for Kai Havertz if you need to go. I would say that. When Saliba was injured, Arteta played holding at right centre-back instead of Kivior. That shows what Arteta thinks of Kivior at right centre-back. Yeah, exactly. I mean, in fairness, when Kivior came in, he did look a lot better than Rob Holding. But have you ever been Arteta out? No. We're literally struggling dealing with bottom clubs. Man City needed a literally last-second winner to beat the club that are bottom of the Premier League. Like, this is where I feel like people just lose their minds. Get Jesus off the books first? Yeah. He's on a lot of money. He is on a lot of money. Watching that Vinny Jr. goal this week, we need a transformative attacker and we're good. Yeah, true to an extent. But again, I've also watched games where Vinny Jr. does nothing. Jesus on the right wing's still okay. Yeah, Jesus off the right is okay. But if that's all he's offering as one of our highest paid players, as someone who's all right off the right wing, that's not enough, right? That's not enough. We need an insane atmosphere on Sunday. There's things we can't control. This is the one thing we can. Oh, 100%. Yeah, the atmosphere needs to be very, very good on Sunday. I hope it will be. I really do. I really do. Anyway, look, unfortunately, this is going to be the end of the stream. I know it's shorter than normal, and I know it's earlier than normal, but I've got to go out. So I apologize for that. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the Liverpool preview. I've got a Halloween party on Saturday night, so we won't be streaming that either. I'll be back later tonight on Twitch. Link to that is down in the description. We've got all of our Rivals rewards to open, so I'm sure they'll be terrible. And then, yeah, we'll be back live here. Normal time, 6:30 for the stream tomorrow. Other than that, I hope you all have an absolutely sensational evening. Hopefully, we witness Spurs and United embarrassing themselves in Europe, and Chelsea, preferably. There's no guess the goal scorer. I'm sorry, there wasn't time for it. But, yeah, have a fantastic evening. I will catch you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and goodbye.